ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So today, as you know, we will be discussing the second verse of the 13th chapter of the Gita, that is Kshetra and Kshetragya. So we will just chant the first two verses like we did last time. So the Lord is saying all this. These two shlokas, Shri Krishna himself is saying. So in the original Gita, when Shri Krishna says something, before that it is written Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the blessed Lord said. Bhagavan, you know, God, and Uvacha means said. And Shri, you must be knowing that Shri is a short form of Shrimat. Shri has many meanings, and some persons also say that the word sir in English, S-I-R, this word sir has been actually derived from this Shri. So Shri denotes all that is good. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha means the blessed Lord said. What did he say? First verse. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidiyate etadyo vettitam prahu kshetragya iti tadvidah. And the second verse is kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetragyayor jnanam yattaj jnanam matam mama. So, first verse we had discussed last time. Today we will discuss the second verse. So last time we had discussed that the field and the knower of the field, these are the two prakritis of God, and God wants us to discriminate between them so that we can finally realize the real nature of the self. So last time we have seen that idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidhiyate. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, this body is referred to as the field, kshetra. And those who are versed in this knowledge call him who knows this field, who knows this kshetra, as kshetragya, or the knower of the field. So, kshetra and kshetragya, the field and the knower of the field. And why is the body known as the kshetra, that we had discussed last time also? Because it protects us against injury, kshata, and because it perishes, kshaya, or because it wastes away, kshara, or because it is a field, because the results of actions get fulfilled in the body as in a field. So in a field we sow crops, etc. In the body also we sow crops which are in the form of our good and bad deeds, and according to the crops we sow, we get the results also in due course. So what we sow depends upon that, depends what we will get. And the knower of the field, Kshetragya, is the individual soul, which is one with the Supreme Soul actually. This we will discuss. So we had seen that Shri Krishna wants us to recognize not the Kshetra or the body, but the knower of the body. Body we are all aware of, but what we are not aware of is what stands behind the body. So the aim of this discrimination is to know the real Kshetragya or the knower of the body or the knower of the field. And last time we had seen that this Kshetragya, knower of the field, is different from what is described as idam, this, the body. And it is a shariram, it is not the body. The body is born, it grows up, it decays and is destroyed. But the knower of the body is never destroyed, it is eternal. This we had discussed last time. So now let us come to the second verse. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetraggyayor jnanam yat taj jnanam matam mama. This is what God says. So he addresses Arjuna as Bharata. Okay. Bharata, this word also has been used by Sri Krishna with a specific intention. We will discuss that. So, O Bharata, O Arjuna, Sri Krishna says, Kshetragyam, the knower of the fields, cha mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. In all the fields, in all the bodies, in the universe there are so many bodies. We all have each of us have our own bodies. So there are countless bodies in the universe. So God says that all these bodies have their individual knowers. Okay, you are the knower of your body. I am the knower of my body. Tom is the knower of his body. Jack is the knower of his own body. So what does Sri Krishna say? That all these fields, all these bodies, you know that the knower, the real knower of all these bodies, of all these fields is me. I am the knower. This is what Sri Krishna says. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi, know me, mam, to be the knower of all these fields. This is what Sri Krishna says. What we think is, I am the knower of my field, you are the knower of your field, everybody is the knower of his own field, we are all separate. But this experience of ours, Sri Krishna contradicts. He says, no, there is actually only one knower of all the fields, of all the bodies, and that knower is me. This is what the second verse says. So, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu, of all the fields, know the knower to be me. Then what does he say in the second part of the verse? Kshetragyayor jnanam, the knowledge of the field and the real knower of the field is true knowledge. Kshetra kshetragyayor jnanam, that knowledge, yat tat jnanam matam mama, that is the only true knowledge. This is my opinion. So this is the meaning of the second verse. Two important things are said. First, Shri Krishna says that all these knowers of the bodies, so many bodies, that many knowers, okay. So Shri Krishna says that there are not many knowers, there is only one knower, and that I am. This is the first thing. The second thing which he says is, this knowledge of the Kshetra and the Kshetragya, of the real Kshetragya, knowing that it is God who is the knower of all fields, this knowledge is the ultimate knowledge. This is the only true knowledge. All the other things which go by the name of knowledge are only ignorance. This is the only true knowledge. So this is what Shri Krishna says. Now we will go into the details. So first of all, he addresses Arjuna as Bharata. Bharata means what? This is derived from Bharata. Bharata Vanshi. Vansha means lineage, clan. So Arjuna belonged to the Bharata clan, the clan of great rulers. So the one belonging to the Bharata clan is called Bharata. This is one derivation. The other derivation is Bharata. This word can be split up into two words, Bha plus Rata. In Sanskrit, Bha plus Rata. Now Bha means Pratibha, that is noble qualities. And Rata means engaged in. So Bharata, you are engaged in fostering noble qualities. This is the meaning. We can be engaged in many things. We can be engaged in undesirable things. But Arjuna was a devotee of God, so he was always engaging himself in good things, in nurturing the divine qualities, the noble qualities. So Bha means noble qualities and Rata means engaged in fostering those noble qualities. So this is one meaning, and the other meaning is one belonging to the Bharata clan. Now the Bharata clan was a very great clan, you see. So many great brave warriors had been born there. So when Shri Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Bharata, as one belonging to this great Bharata clan, what he means to say is, you are descendant of such great rulers. They were all very brave people. So you also have to be brave. This is the meaning. Your forefathers were such great warriors. You also have to be great like them, great warrior like them. And who is your enemy? All of them defeated their enemies. You also have to defeat your enemy. What is your enemy? Your enemy is ignorance. This is what is to be understood. Because God is addressing all humankind through the Gita. So all of us have one common enemy, that is ignorance. So Shri Krishna says, like your forefathers were brave and they defeated their enemy, you also have to be brave and defeat your enemy, which is ignorance. This is one meaning. And the second meaning I have already told you, Bha plus Rata. So he is praising Arjuna that you are engaged in fostering noble qualities. So if you try, you can also become divine. That is the thing. So, O Bharata, then Shri Krishna addresses Arjuna and says, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. Of all the kshetras, of all the bodies in the universe, Kshetragyam mam vidhi. Know me to be the knower of all the bodies. Now, what is our experience? Our experience is all the bodies have separate knowers. Isn't that what we see? In every body, we see a separate knower. That knower of the body thinks, associates himself with the body, and thinks that when the body dies, that it also dies, who thinks that he is possessed of the mind associated with the body, who thinks that whatever the body does, he thinks he is doing. So that knower is bound in his field or the body-mind complex. Okay, that is what we see, that each knower is different. Each knower is associating himself with his own body. So all the knowers are different. But Shri Krishna says they are actually not different. This is the thing. I am actually the knower of all the fields. I am the supreme leader. Like so many leaders we have, there may be like councillors or the mayors, etc. So many leaders we have in the society. But who sits at the top? President of the whole country. Or in India, the Prime Minister of the whole country. So he is the supreme leader. So similarly, Shri Krishna says, of all these bodies, know me to be the supreme, because actually it is I who am the knower of all these bodies. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi. Okay, now see, this is very important. What is the difference between Kshetra and Kshetragya like? This we have to carefully understand. We have seen that the Kshetra, the body, and Kshetragya, the knower of the body, are different. Last time we have seen. But in Vedanta, what this difference is like, this has to be carefully understood. Now there are so many different things in the universe, and we have seen that all of them have different characteristics. And last time we have also seen that the body and its knower, the Kshetra and Kshetragya, they also have different characteristics. But what is the difference like? Now you see, in the universe there are so many types of differences. First is living and non-living beings. This is my computer and this is me. I am different from my computer. Computer is dead. I am living. This is one type of difference. Then another type of difference is like difference in jati. That is, there are so many animals. But a tiger is different from an ant. Both belong to a different class completely. Ant is a very small insect. Tiger belongs to the cat family. Totally different. So all these types of differences are there in the universe. Now, what is the difference between the Kshetra and Kshetragya like? Is it the difference between the living and the non-living? Or is it the difference between the two classes of the same species? Or they are completely different species altogether? What is the difference like? This has to be understood. Now see, things can have different characteristics. That is always possible. But sometimes things can have different characteristics and different names, even though there is no intrinsic difference between them. Intrinsically, they may be one, but still they may have different characteristics and different names. How is that possible? A very simple example we all know: gold. Gold, the precious metal gold. We can make so many things from gold. We can make a necklace from gold. We can make a bracelet from gold. We can make a ring from gold. Now all these three things and many others, bracelet, necklace, ring, are they different from each other? They are not intrinsically different. They are all gold because they are made of gold. But still they are different. Why? Because they have different forms. A ring is a round shaped thing. A bracelet is a bigger thing. A necklace is a bigger thing which you wear around the neck. A bracelet is also a round thing but bigger. So all these things are actually gold only, but they have different forms and also therefore different names. So things can differ but not differ at the same time. So in the same way, say out of the same gold, so many different forms are there and they all have different names. Similarly, the Kshetra and the Kshetragya are not intrinsically different. They differ only in form and therefore in name. This we have to always remember when we are discussing the Vedanta. Like copper. From copper you can make different utensils. You can also make wires from copper. You can make so many other things. They are different. One we call a wire, one we call a utensil. But they are all copper. Intrinsically, they are all one. So this is how we have to recognize the difference between Kshetra and Kshetragya. The difference is in forms, and since the forms differ, the different names are assigned. So earlier we have seen that what is the difference between Kshetra and Kshetragya? Idam, this, what is denoted by this, is body or Kshetra, and the knower is Kshetragya, and that which is changing, decaying, which is bound by karma is Kshetra, and that which is free from all this is Kshetragya. So now we can say that the knowledge is complete. We now know that what is Kshetra and Kshetragya. We now know what is the difference between them. So nothing is to be known. Anything more is not to be known. But Shri Krishna says no. Another thing you have to know, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi. Know that the knower of all these fields, know to be me. Know that I am the knower of all these fields. This is the main thing. The question is that are all the knowers whom we see as different, are they really different or not? That is the thing. Shri Krishna says they are not different. Now here suppose there is a big landlord. He owns many flats. He owns flats throughout Vancouver. Owner is one. The flats may be many. The flats have different shapes, sizes, different characteristics, different prices. But the owner is only one. So, Kshetragya or the knower of all these fields similarly is only one. He is the eternal witness of all these fields. Like the knower of all these flats, he is one and he is the witness. This means he is separate from all the flats. If one flat is burned down, he is not affected. Similarly, the knower of the fields is also one, is also the witness, while the fields can be many. What are these fields? The body and mind complex. The body and the mind complex which we have, these are the fields, but the knower of all these is one and separate from them. All the activities of the mind and body can't even touch the Atman. That is what Sri Krishna says. Everything, all the activities we see, all the activities happen in the mind, not in the Atman. In the mind, we have the concept of time and space. Everything is here in the mind. So in Vedanta, there is a very interesting analysis that one way to gain the knowledge of the Supreme Reality is to analyze our three states which we undergo every day. What are those three states? Waking, dream, and deep sleep. Vedanta says just if we analyze these three, we can reach the Atman. So we will not go into a detailed analysis, but I will just ask you one small thing. When you are in deep sleep means dreamless sleep. This you have to remember. These are technical words. Sushupti. When in Vedanta we say deep sleep, it means sleep where there are no dreams. So what happens in dreamless sleep? In which country are you when you are in dreamless sleep? Are you in India? Are you in Canada? Where are you? Do you know? Who are you? Male, female, what? Do you know? What is your age? Do you know? Are you good? Are you bad? Do you know? No, nothing. Everything goes away. This is a state we experience every day. All differentiations go away in deep sleep. Nothing makes any difference because the mind where everything is taking place, the whole factory is here, that is withdrawn. So nothing is of any difference. We don't know who we are. We don't know how old we are. Nothing we know. But when we wake up, all these things come back. The factory starts again. But in deep sleep, we are oblivious. So many times everyone must have experienced when somebody is in great pain or somebody is in a very depressed state, he doesn't feel like getting up. He doesn't want anybody to break his sleep. Why? Because all the fears, all the misery, all the sorrow, everything comes back when we step into the dream state or the waking state. But in dreamless sleep, there is nothing. Because there is no mind there. It is the mind which creates all the mischief. The mind covered by ignorance, we are associating ourselves with that mind. That is creating all the problem. So, the mind is imagined in the I, and the whole universe is imagined in the mind. Every day the universe disappears from us. Just imagine, in dreamless sleep. Every day it happens. So, always remember that the mind is imagined in the I, the real I, and the whole universe is imagined in the mind. And our real self illumines the mind. The whole, from the history, if you see, from ancient times, civilizations have come and gone, countries have arisen and fallen, millions of societies, millions of rulers, millions of citizens, come and gone, come and gone, come and gone. But the knower of all these remains the same. I remain the same, because all these are superimpositions upon my soul. In reality, they are nothing. This is the great truth which Vedanta teaches. So we are separate from the kshetra. What are we then? We are separate from the kshetra, we have seen last time. The body is different. We are different. So if we are separate from the body, what is our real nature then? In answer, Sri Krishna says, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi. You are the knower of the body, and I am also the supreme knower of the body. So there cannot be two knowers. There can only be one knower. So Sri Krishna says that in reality, you are not different from me. This is the thing. The first verse of the 13th chapter said that Kshetra and Kshetragya are separate from each other. That Kshetra is the known and Kshetragya the knower. Now it is said that the knower is none other than God Himself. In all the different Kshetras, in all the different bodies, in them the apparently different knowers is one only. The apparently different knowers, which are called the Chidabhasa in Vedanta. This is a technical term. Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa is made up of two words, Chit plus Abhasa. Chit means consciousness. Abhasa means reflection. Once Adbhutananda Ji Swami Latu Maharaj was asked, how can the one appear as so many? Latu Maharaj, as we know, he had not read any scriptures, he could hardly read. Thakur tried to teach him, Sri Ramakrishna once, but he could not even pronounce ka and ka differently. So Thakur also got disgusted and left. So this unlettered Latu Maharaj, he gave the answer in a brilliant way. He said, the sun is there in the sky, but in the morning what do you see? So many dewdrops are there. In each dewdrop you see a sun. This unlettered person gave this answer. So what is this, what we see in the dewdrop? It is the sun, but it is a reflection of the sun. That is called Chidabhasa, the reflection of the Chit. Chit, which is only one. So Chidabhasa means Abhasa or reflection of Brahman, the universal self, on or through the mind. The real sun is only one. That, Shri Krishna says, Mam Vidhi, that which appears to be different in different bodies, which are but superimpositions, try to find out about that. Leave the bodies aside. That which appears to be different in different bodies appears to be limited only on account of the superimpositions. If it is bereft of all the superimpositions, then it will be found to be one. That is the thing. What is the example given in Vedanta? That suppose you immerse 100 pots in the ocean. A, B, C, etc., different pots of different sizes. Now, all these pots, if you immerse in the ocean, the water inside the pot appears to be different. The water inside pot A, water inside pot B, water inside pot C, and others. All the waters in the different pots appear to be different. But what happens when you break down all the jars? All water becomes one. Because there was no real difference. The difference appeared to be only because of the different forms, which are the superimpositions. So Shri Krishna says that now you see all these different knowers of the field, I, you, Tom, Dick, Harry, etc. But they appear to be different only because things have been superimposed on them. What has been superimposed? The mind and the body. If you remove that, it is all one. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi means that what you are thinking now, I am this body, I am fair, I am dark, I am Indian, I am Hindu, I am Christian. Get rid of all these qualifications or adjectives. I am sinner, I am a noble man, I am happy, I am sad, I am the one who will go to heaven, I am the one who will go to hell. Leave all that. So, when everything has been got rid of, what remains is neither a sinner, nor a noble person, nor a happy person, nor a sad person. What remains is not limited in any way, not limited by any of these qualifications. What is left is the Supreme Brahman or God Himself. This is the thing. So, Vedanta says, Nirasta Sarva Upadhi Bhedam. Upadhi means superimposition. All the Bhedam, differences, which are due to the superimpositions, Nirasta, when all these are gone, from Brahma till the amoeba, all these bodies and minds, due to which the Kshetragya appears different, when all these are removed, what remains is called Mam by Shri Krishna. Kshetragyam cha api Mam vidhi. Know it to be me. This is what Shri Krishna says. Now, I will give you a very small headache, as is my habit. So we will indulge in a little subtle reasoning. Okay. We say, Vedantins say that this one consciousness is divided into so many apparently forms, etc. All that is consciousness. Now, someone can argue that I say that when all these superimpositions are removed, you say there is only Chit, consciousness. I say that what remains is only a Chit. A Chit means dull, dead matter. Then how can you contradict me? You say that you experience consciousness. I say that I experience dull matter. Now, what have you to say against that? How can you prove me wrong? How can you prove that when all the superimpositions are removed, what will remain is not dull, dead matter? How can you prove that? So, if you were here before me, I would have asked you, but since you are safely in your homes and behind your computers and protected, so I cannot ask you. So, I will have to answer. It is a brilliant answer. How is it answered? Now see what we have studied before in Indian philosophy, the perception and inference, that knowledge will now come to our help when we try to give the answer to this question. The Vedantin, in answer, he will say that no one can ever experience that everything is dull, dead matter or achit. This can never be the experience of anybody. It can only be inference. How? Let us try to see. Vedantins say that if you say that you are experiencing dull, dead matter when all the superimpositions are gone, I answer you and I say that this can never be your experience. You are only inferring, and this inference is wrong. So we will first answer the first Vedanta what says. We will prove that this can never be your experience. Why? If you say I am experiencing that everything is dead matter, we will ask you, what is this I? What is this I through which you are experiencing? If you are experiencing, you have to be conscious. If you are experiencing, you have to be conscious. So if I say that I am experiencing, by this I am also saying that I am conscious. If you yourself are conscious, how can you experience everything as dull, dead matter? You are experiencing yourself every minute and you are conscious. Could you follow the reasoning? So if someone says that I am experiencing everything is dull, dead matter, it cannot be true, because the one who is experiencing is conscious. So how can you say that everything is dull, dead matter? Experience implies consciousness. So this is the first thing. And second thing, Vedanta says that you are just inferring that everything is dull, dead matter, and this you cannot experience this, that we have proved. You are just inferring, and this inference is also wrong. Why? See, when we were studying inference, we have seen that for inference, the Vyapti Jnana means the knowledge that, for example, when we are inferring that there is smoke somewhere and we cannot see the fire, we are inferring that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. This is the inference, is it not? So when we make this inference is based on our knowledge that fire and smoke always go together. Without this knowledge, we cannot make this inference. So the Vedanti says that if you say that everything is dull, dead matter, it is an inference. But how did you make this inference? Where is the prior knowledge? Inference is based on prior experience. I have experienced first that fire and smoke go together. This experience can lead to an inference. So Vedantin says that when you infer that everything is dull, dead matter, this inference must have had an experience behind it. Otherwise you cannot infer. And we have already proved that this nobody can experience, that everything is dull, dead matter. So when you infer something without a valid experience behind it, that inference can never be true. So the answer to this, that everything is not consciousness but dull, dead matter, the Vedantin answers in these two ways. That first of all, he proves that this can never be the experience of anybody. This can only be an inference at best. And this inference is also wrong. So I hope you have been able to follow. So from this, the Vedantin proves that everything, the only thing which actually exists is one infinite consciousness, and know that to be me. That is what Sri Krishna says. So this is the first part of the shloka. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi. And what is the next second half of the shloka? Kshetra kshetragyayor jnanam, the knowledge of the kshetra and the kshetragya, know that to be the true knowledge. This is what the second part of the verse says, that the knowledge of the field and the knowledge of the knower of the field, that alone is true knowledge. That is my view. So the first two things are there. The knowledge by which Kshetra and Kshetragya both are known. This means the knowledge by which the universe or Jagat and Ishvara or God both are known, by which the Chit and Achit both are known, that is true knowledge. And second thing which Sri Krishna says, the knowledge by which the Kshetra and Kshetragya both are revealed, that I am. So the different bodies that are seen, and in them different individual souls are seen, all these are not different from God. And since God can only be one, they are also not different from one another. Knowing this is true knowledge. This is what Sri Krishna says. And this was the experience of Sri Ramakrishna also, this supreme experience. When once what happened, that the workers of the temple found that Sri Ramakrishna, with the food which was to be offered to the Divine Mother, that food Sri Ramakrishna was offering to a cat. They thought he is gone. If Mathur Babu hears about this, he is fired, finished. His life will be ruined. They did not know what Sri Ramakrishna was experiencing. But Mathur Babu knew that Sri Ramakrishna was a very great soul. So, what was he experiencing? Sometimes when he intended to offer Divine Mother a flower, he found his hand coming towards his own head and placing the flower there. So, the workers also saw him feeding the cat with the food offering of the Divine Mother. But what was the master seeing then? He was seeing everything full of consciousness as the embodiment of the Spirit. The image was conscious, the altar was consciousness, the worship utensils were consciousness, the door sill, the marble floor, he himself, all was consciousness. That is why Sri Ramakrishna says, I found everything inside the room soaked as it were in bliss. What is that bliss? The bliss of Satchidananda. This is what Sri Ramakrishna, this is how Sri Ramakrishna described that vision. So, to have this vision, we have to have the knowledge of the Kshetra and Kshetragya, discriminate between them first, and when we gain the realization, we will know that actually there was no difference at all. It was only one. And that is the true knowledge. Why is it the true knowledge? Swami Vivekananda says, I quote, "The infinite is caught, as it were, in the meshes of the intellect and apparently manifests as finite beings, but the reality remains unchanged." I repeat, he says, the infinite is caught in the meshes of the intellect, in our mind, and apparently, mind you, apparently manifests as finite beings, but the reality remains unchanged. This is therefore true knowledge, that the soul of our souls, the reality that is within us, is that which is unchangeable, eternal, ever blessed, and ever free. This is the only solid ground for us to stand upon. This then is the end of all death, the advent of all immortality, the end of all misery. Unquote. That is why it is true knowledge. It is the end of death forever and ever. It is the end of suffering for ever and ever. And it ushers in immortality, which is beginningless and therefore endless. It ushers in infinite bliss, which is beginningless and therefore endless, and which is only one, without a second. That one is the knower, the true knower of all the different kshetras. And this knowledge is the only true knowledge. This is what Shri Krishna says. So, this ends our very concise analysis of the second verse of the third chapter of the Gita, 13th chapter of the Gita, known as Kshetra Kshetragyor Vibhaga. The difference between the field and the knower of the field. So I think this will be enough headaches for one day, and to make up for that we can have a song. So we can end here today. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. शक्ति देना मन विजय करें, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करें। हमको मन की शक्ति देना मन विजय दोस्तों से भूल हो तो मुश्किलें पड़े तो हम पे इतना करम कर, मुश्किलें पड़े तो हम पे इतना करम कर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बदी से ना डरे, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करें, हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करें, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करें, हमको मन की शक्ति देना।
Swamiji, thank you for the inspirational talk.
Yeah,
We
thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we can't tell you how fortunate we feel that you're in Vancouver.
Oh.
We're very grateful.
Thank you so much. Yeah. If I have survived so long and this in difficult times, it is only because of the devotees and their love and cooperation. That need not be said. It is obvious. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, Jyoti,
Hello, Swami.
hello,
Very
hello.
wonderful class.
Thank you.
Came across the Vivekananda classes a few months ago, and it was a pleasant surprise tuning in every Sunday 11 a.m. So we are very lucky to have you, and that sense of humor and spirituality, it's like an amazing package of wisdom for us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It is because all these are coming only because of the nutritious food which all the devotees are kindly supplying. So, no problem. Yeah.
That is very wonderful to hear.
Thank you. Aishwari,
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
namaste.
I'm at a loss for words with the song that you sang. I didn't understand the Hindi language,
Oh.
but I could feel a great adoration for the divine from that song. So that was absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
The lecture today reminded me of Nirvana Satkampa, written by Bhagwan
Yeah.
Shankaracharya.
Mano Buddhi Ankar Chittani Naam. Yeah.
And it is my wish in my heart that one day you will sing it for us.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And especially the fourth verse in Nirvana Satkampa, where Bhagwan Shankaracharya talks about who he is, and he says, Na punyam na
Na papam.
papam,
Yeah.
na saukyam
Kyam
na
na
dukkham,
dukkham.
na mantro na tirtam na veda na yajya, aham bhojanam naiva bhojam na bhokta, chidananda
Rupa
rupaha,
Shivam Shivam.
shivoham shivoham. And Sri Ramakrishna's experience in putting the flower on his own head, it reflects that kind of experience that he is the divine. So it just, today's lecture really reminded me of Nirvana Satkam. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Swami,
Yeah.
Jay, sorry, we just wanted to say pranam to you. This is our first time we are joining,
Oh,
and
Vallabh.
we are from Toronto.
oh, sorry I missed you. Did I miss you? Well, sorry I missed you.
No, that's okay.
So
That's
many.
okay. Jitesh is our son.
Oh, acha, Jitesh, acha, okay, very good.
Yeah, he got us connected. So
Oh.
thank you for the lecture, Swamiji. We enjoyed that.
Thank you so
And
much.
we hope to see you in person in the future.
Yeah, this last summer itself, I was supposed to go to Toronto, So
Oh,
everything, yeah, Kripa Manji had asked me to come. Even the tickets were made, but everything had to be cancelled. So
yes.
let's see in the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay.